tremendously. Congrats on the win. Pretty excited, I can tell. You seem like you have a good vibe. You're pretty happy with your performance today.
I am happy with my performance. I mean, there's some stuff that I've been working on for like 8 years, and I was able to put it together and do it in this fight. It was different. It felt pretty different not having a crowd there. It felt a lot more like just another day at the gym, and I think that, I mean, I love the crowd, but I think that I was able to slow things down a little bit more, which was also kind of a downfall too. I think that was one of the mistakes that I made, was being able to switch from being like, okay, I'm on the outside, I'm doing this, and then being able to go in. I would have liked to been able to make that switch a little faster.
Was there any extra emotion coming into this one? I saw your tweet yesterday, and I know there was a little disagreement after the weigh-in. Was that something that you liked going into the fight with? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Honestly, I mean, she didn't make weight, and I got a percentage of her purse, and I get a little salty. I had some bad experiences with people not making weight. Out of 3 out of 4, something like that, of the last people I fought or been lined up to fight haven't made weight. So, I mean, it's just disrespectful no matter how you look at it. I mean, I know there's a lot of different situations going on. We're in a pandemic. I know she's from Oregon, where there's a lot of wildfires, and we were cool after the fight, but I would just like to be able to fight somebody who comes in like a professional and not have any of those extra emotions.
Now that you've got your footing under you a little bit in Bellator, you've had a few fights. With this win, I mean, what do you think's next for you? Are you even thinking about that yet?
I want to fight someone higher up. I want to fight someone who's going to set me up to move up and to get a little bit more out of the whole experience. I'm really excited to watch this fight and to see how Kat Zingano does. And it would be an honor to get to fight her, to get to fight Julia Budd. I know I need to get another win before I can really throw my name into the hat for the title shot, but of course that is the ultimate goal.
One other thing, I want to ask you about your shirt. Can you talk about that a little bit and maybe what that means to you?
Yeah, totally. Today is 9/11. It's a very traumatic day in American history, and I think that we all still do owe a debt of gratitude to all the public servants who came in and helped everybody, and a lot of sorrow still for the people whose lives were lost and for the people who were deeply affected by that. And I feel like we owe everybody who sacrificed themselves to save other Americans to create the best America that we possibly can, that was willing to serve and protect all of its citizens. And Black Lives Matter, and with police brutality, excessive use of force, and man, the deaths that have just plagued it, it's really, really disturbing, and it's not something that I want to be part of. And it's something that we all need to recognize, the systemic racism within the institutions in America, and that we need to stand up and change. And Breonna Taylor was an innocent woman who was killed, and it's great that there's Breonna's Law now to prevent these no-knock raids, but that's not enough. The people who killed her need to be held accountable, because until her killers are held accountable, then other people are going to think that they can get away with it without being held accountable. In fact, people are still doing it. There are still multiple lives that have been lost to police brutality, excessive use of force, Black Americans who deserve a lot better than that.
Congrats on the win. Just talk a little bit about what this fight week has been like with the pandemic and all the quarantining and testing. What has this whole experience been like for you?
It has been different. Very different. Today I cleaned my hotel room. Never done that before. This is like the most time that I've spent inside of the hotel room. I am really appreciative of everybody from Bellator for putting it together and making it happen so that we can do this fight, because as difficult as the change was for me, I know that it's taking way more effort from all of them to make this happen. The COVID tests, the multiple COVID tests, the temperature checks, the separate changing rooms and workout rooms, the free Pedialyte, that was kind of cool. I love Pedialyte. Things were really different, and I'm glad that I had a team to support me and to help me make it feel like it was just another day in the office.
In the third round, she got your back there pretty early on. Were you ever in any significant trouble? And how much of a benefit was it to hear Gilbert throughout the whole fight pretty much?
Oh yeah, it was super nice. My corners were awesome. Gilbert Melendez, Jake Shields, Shinju, Claire, having them there to tell me what's going on from that outside perspective, and then to be able to hear, that is a big deal. It was nice to be able to hear. You know, I 21 fights in, and I still sort of get into tunnel vision, and so sometimes I was trying to back everyone up into my corner, and you know, it's a big circle. Sometimes that's it was a little bit more difficult than I thought it would be given the situation. I thought that was going to be a little bit easier, but yeah, it was nice to be able to hear everybody, and I mean, I love the energy of the crowd, and that's like a wonderful part of the whole thing. But there were pluses to not having the crowd there as well.
Congratulations on the win. I'm curious to know, was this the fight go exactly how you, Gilbert, Shields, and Shinju all planned out, or did this fight was there the strategy of maybe trying to finish her in the first round, second round, whatever it is, did not go as planned? Can you just talk about what the strategy was involved?
Yeah, it went 80% the way that we wanted it to. The 20% that wasn't right was letting her get that takedown and letting her get that position in the second round. But you know, I trained with the best, and so no, I wasn't in danger inside of there. There's never an arm under. I would have liked to finish her when I had my arm around her neck multiple times, but you know, I didn't make that happen. But luckily, I'm gonna have another chance to go back to train and come back and do it again.
And I also saw you posted after the weigh-in your Twitter poll about whether if your opponent extends a hand or can say sorry for not missing weight, what you should do. I'm just curious to know, what did you do after she did not miss weight? I'm assuming that's what happened. She tried to extend her hand, and what did you do in that case?
Well, I made the poll very black and white, and nothing is ever actually as black and white as it is. She came over and she said, I didn't mean any disrespect by losing weight, and I was like, what are you talking about? That's the most it's disrespectful. I don't care how you look at it. And she kept saying I didn't mean any disrespect, and putting her hand out after I thought it was pretty clear that I wasn't in any kind of a mood, and then that's when the FU came out. I mean, somebody on Twitter said it. They're like, it's kind of like if you go home and your significant other is in bed with somebody else and they jump out of bed and they're like, I didn't mean to cheat on you. It's like, come on, really? You know, I mean, after the fight we shook hands and it's all good, but at the time, no, it's literally the one way that you can show respect to your opponent, to the entire sport, and to the promotion that brought you out there. So, yeah, I was a little salty.
Hey Alex, congrats on the win, man. Pretty good first impression, I think, for your Bellator debut. Were you overall happy with it?
You know, I got the W, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters. But, you know, as fighters, as people in general, you gotta look to keep building, and there's a lot of stuff that I think I can build off that fight. So, looking ahead, happy to be here, happy to put on a good show, but I know I can do better next time.
Talk about signing with Bellator too. You know, you were the LFA champ, and you come in and you sign a big contract with Bellator. So how excited are you to finally be making that step to the big stage?
Oh man, it's been a little bit, you know, and I'm not gonna say that I had the hardest time, because there's a lot of people going in a lot of places in the world that are having it harder, but there's something to getting that real high LFA championship. Bellator's calling, everyone's on the door, signing Bellator, and then shut down. No sports, no gym, no work, no nothing. So it's been a long time coming, and I'm happy to be here putting on a good show for some good people.
What do you think it says about you and your abilities that you come in here, in your debut, you beat a former champion, maybe a matchup that wouldn't have happened outside the pandemic, but here you are, you got a W against a pretty notable guy.
Strange times to live in, man, strange times. I'm just, again, happy that Bellator gave me a shot. You know, not everybody gets to be lucky enough to get to put the skills put to use the skills that they're given, and my skills just happen to be hurting people. I'm just glad to have a stage to do it in.
I gotta ask you, do you wear temporary tattoos when you fight?
They're all gone now, aren't they? Yeah. So when I first started, I was no tattoos, and A lot of fighters nowadays get all inked up, and I thought I want a little piece of that. Time's tough, so the quarter machines at the Woodman's or the local grocery store never disappoint. Throw a couple quarters in there, get inked up for on a dime, you know.
Congrats on the win. 7-0 now in your career. All previous of your fights, you've gotten finishes. This is the first time you've gone the duration. How important was it for you to actually log that 15 minutes of cage time?
You know, actually my previous fight at LFA Championship went the full distance. Ended up getting a finish in that 4th round. But I do think it's important a lot of times. Fight fans will watch some of the bigger guys, especially the guys who have a high finishing rate, and they say, well, what happens when he gets put to the test? What happens when he has to push that gas tank? And I'm hoping that I can show people that I can go that distance. I can show that, you know, even down to 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, I'm still going to be in there. I'm still going to be putting in work.
Obviously, going against the former champ, you know he's a very credible guy. Was there anything in there that surprised you at all? I mean, you look pretty dominant tonight.
You know, in interviews before, I've said it and I'll say it again. I'm not really the type to, you know, watch film on opponents. I'm more focused on me, my game plan. But my coaches always do an excellent job letting me know what I need to do to counter his style. Really not a lot of surprises, but as usual, there's things that we can improve upon, there's things that we can work on. So yeah, just making sure that we're moving forward, improving constantly.
And I was told to ask you this. Apparently you have the same last name as Snooki. Are you related to her?
Man, I was wishing you guys had not dug that up. What kind of investigative reporting are they doing in Bellator? Nobody's brought that up so far. Unrelated, as far as I know. And if somebody finds a family tree and finds it, just keep that a secret, okay, please? Please?
What did you think of his overall grappling? Because there were points where you were able to get him down with ease, and then he was able to get back up. You were able to keep him against the cage. What did you think of overall? Were there areas he was strong and then weak, and then your overall complete more grappling game was the big difference in fight?
You know, there's a reason he's a former champion. I mean, he's bringing some hard punches to the table. Standing southpaw, throwing those kicks. Those kicks are coming heavy. I knew coming into it that I was going to be the more grappling-centered fighter. But yeah, I mean, he did his homework and he knew that I was coming to grab him. Did a good job kind of countering up against the cage. He was looking for that tie clinch, and we're trying to dig underneath all the time. He was doing a good job not letting me get underneath because he's got height on me. But one of the things that being kind of a shorty allows me to do is get under people and get that wrestling position. I like it. He was doing a good job trying to make sure I didn't get there.
Now he's lost to like the elite of 2 divisions, Medine, Gagar, Leo Bashir. For the people that may have not been familiar with what you've done so far, what do you think as a statement this says to the entire industry, the promotion, that I just beat a guy that only lost to the elites? This is how good I am.
I'm going to show my ass a little bit here. I don't really know those guys either. I know that Carvalho's an excellent opponent. I've been told he has excellent credentials, but looking at backgrounds and records really just ain't my deal. I'm looking ahead, opponent in front of me, and I'm just looking at him. That next fight coming up, I don't care about his history. He's got to fight me coming up, and that's all I'm really looking at.
Trish, I gotta ask, who do you have in mind for a next opponent with this win over former champion? Who do you have eyes set out best?
If we could carry over from that last one, I don't know. I have no idea. I know that there's some light heavyweights scrapping tonight for the main card. Maybe it'll be one of those guys. Maybe it won't be. I know that I have stuff that I need to work back on in the gym before I come back and put on a good show for Bellator, so time will tell.
You also said before at the beginning that you were somewhat disappointed in your performance. If correctly, can you just elaborate on that by any chance?
Excellent opponent, and I know we're getting to higher elite levels, and maybe I misspoke a little bit to say I'm disappointed, but you know, just as any craft person will tell you, like there's never a thing that they do where they say, hey, that was the best I could do. That's the best I had to offer. There's no improvement there. I'm looking at that fight that I just had, happy. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna enjoy myself a nice dinner. But come Monday, we're back at it in the gym. We're looking back at this Carvalho fight, saying, hey, we goofed up here. Hey, we should have done better here. And we're just looking to build upon where we're already at.
Well, Taylor Johnson, welcome to Bellator, man. Congrats on the win. Quite the first impression. How are you feeling after that one?
Oh, I feel great, man. Ed's just such a nice guy. I don't like potentially injuring your opponent like that, but great dude, great opportunity, and I'm just super excited, man. All glory to God.
Yeah, when you started working for that, how confident were you that you were going to be able to pull that off?
As soon as I realized he wasn't super savvy in that position, I knew I was going to get the sub.
And talk to me about what the last year plus has been for you. You went through LFA and you were undefeated, head full of steam into the Contender Series. You suffered a loss. Did that make this win even a little bit better for you?
Yeah, it definitely did. The Contender Series loss was just me getting a little too excited, wanting to get that contract coming out, and just like my parents say, like my dad says, I went at him like I was killing snakes. I was just getting after it. This fight I wanted to come out a little more reserved and pulling off the W first round, first couple minutes was a huge opportunity.
And coming in and winning is one thing, but beating a guy like Ed Ruth in the fashion you did is another. Do you feel like you've inserted yourself right at the top of this division, in an instant?
Absolutely. I don't have a lot of fights. I've had dozens and dozens of guys all across the West Coast that weren't interested in fighting me. So I've had a lot of fights fall through, and to have the opportunity against Ed, I have the ability to beat anybody. I just got to go out and do it.
Who makes sense for you for your next fight? Is there someone in particular that you're thinking about?
Honestly, I haven't even thought about it. Whoever the boss wants me to fight, like I said, I'll fight anybody. I'll knock you out of time. That's the goal. So whoever they want to put in front of me, I'm down to get it.
Historically speaking, Ed has made his name at welterweight, and here he comes up to middleweight to face you. Did you feel like you had a big size and strength advantage in there tonight?
I definitely know I had a little size and strength on him. He came out and shot to the hips, and honestly, I thought he was going to maybe just try to stand and strike, because I'm not a three-time, Penn State national champ, but I was a national champ in NAI. I was in Cruise Division 1. I've wrestled a lot. I've wrestled very large men. I wrestled 197 in college, so I figured I'd have the upper hand on as far as grappling, just because, maybe he'd get after me at first, but he's going to get exhausted trying to hold a guy my size down and trying to out-wrestle me. So I thought it would be stand-up, but right away, he went to the hips and, got down on the sub game and got hurt.
Congratulations on the win, Taylor.
Thanks.
I gotta say, for a guy who has 5 knockouts on his record, how do you feel that you got your first submission win?
It feels great, but there's something about just putting the 4x4s up against somebody's head that I really enjoy doing. But leg locks is also something I'm very passionate about. I notice they're always there when someone tries to grapple me and take me down. So as soon as they get to the hips, I'll even give my back a little bit so I can roll to the leg lock. Getting the sub free sub is great, especially if you do a hook. I know my coaches back in San Diego and my jiu-jitsu coaches in ATT Portland are super stoked about that.
And my second question, you mentioned Dean Lister. Did you say John Danaher as well?
No, Dean Lister and Jocko Willing. Yeah, and Jeff Glover was one of my coaches back in San Diego. Craig Baker's one of the black belt that I worked on over there. But at Victory, when they were before COVID, I trained there for about 3-4 years. And got a lot of good jiu-jitsu over there. And that's what kind of built the jiu-jitsu fighter that I've been in.
Yeah, Dean Lister is one of the best when it comes to leg locks. So tell us, is this something you're going to input into your game in the
Always.
future going forward?
Yeah. So watch out for your legs.
Hey Phil, congrats on the win, man. Overall assessment of your performance, you pretty happy about that one?
You know what, man, I really am. She is such an amazingly elusive guy. It's so hard to get a hand on her. I mean, I remember watching him fight Shogun twice actually. And man, he just frustrated Shogun. And Shogun's one of those guys, he swings hard. And Shogun just could not get the movement. He couldn't get him down. And he got Machida got the first win over him, And that's what he's just one of those guys. It's very frustrating.
And now you have 2 wins over him, and I know they talked to you in the cage about a potential, a lot of people thought that was another 1 contender fight. So for you, you seem like you're really warming up to the idea of getting another crack at Mr. Nemkov.
Oh yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I feel like that makes a lot. I mean, he can fight whoever he wants to fight, but I know deep down inside, the champion wants to fight that guy who was right on his ass. So yeah, I mean, I want that fight, and I know he wants that fight.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I mean, when Vadim Nemkov beat Bader, I mean, it seemed even more obvious that you had an even greater chance of getting into the title picture. When that fight happened and Bader lost, did this fight take on even more significance? Because beating Lyoto twice still means a lot, but did you know, like, if I beat him, it makes just too much sense I'm going to get the title shot next.
Man, just getting out of the cage with your head on your shoulders after you fight Lyoto is that's its own victory, man. You don't want to like, wow, this fight means more because then you can fight that. No, just beat Lyoto. He's no small feat.
I remember I talked to you after the Vadim loss, and you talked about how in that third round you're like, man, I could have went for takedowns a lot earlier. I could have had him in the positions. Now that fight seems that much closer and more obvious, is it like, has it been something that's stuck in your craw for so long, and you feel like I'm finally gonna get to scratch that itch that wanted to for a few fights?
Absolutely. Winning fights is awesome. It feels great. I mean, it's what I work for. But losing fights is what really motivates me in the gym. That's what keeps me grounded in my pursuit to get better. And I say perfect. That's even attainable, but that's what keeps me moving. That's what keeps me moving. So I think about those losses, even different exchanges and positions that I lose in coming out of the victory.
Congrats on the win, Phil. You've beat some huge names throughout your career, but when it's all said and done, you look back at it, is Lyoto Machida, is that the signature win that you could say thus far that you've had so far?
I don't know if that's the signature win. I will tell you this, the first time we fought down in Brazil, I think that may have been the most scared I've ever been in my life. Like, the stadium was it was electric, and I'm fighting a national treasure, and they were not huge Phil Davis fans until after the fight. So, I mean, that's putting it very lightly. It was a very hostile arena. So, that's definitely one of the moments I look back on and say, man, that was awesome. So was the Teixeira fight. So was Liam McGarry. I think about right here, Mohegan winning that title. That was a super special night. Within 48 hours, I won a world title and had a baby. So, action-packed weekend. Yeah.
Obviously, the goal is to win the belt here, and Nemkov makes sense to be next. But is there a part of you that wants to take on Bader? I mean, you've lost to him twice, so you really want to scratch that itch and get in there and get a win?
Absolutely not. You gotta let know when to what's that saying? Let sleepy dogs lie. Well, my grandma would say that dog don't hunt. So we're just listen. It's good. You got me. Move it on.
Congratulations on the win, Phil. Just curious to know, was that the fight that you planned to fight? Did everything go according to plan, or was there anything in the cage that was new that happened in certain moments?
I expected to be able to, the hard thing, man, Machida, he was in shape, man. He was very much so in shape, and normally he slows down kind of in the second and third, and man, he really didn't. He was able to, you got to be able to like capitalize on his footwork, and I'm constantly adjusting, he's constantly adjusting, and if he gets someone to be able to relax their footwork long enough, I can go for a takedown, I can set up a big right hand or a right kick, and we were just constantly jostling, jockeying for position, and man, that's what I expected, but not for as long as I expected.
And when they read that it was a split decision, did you figure for a moment that any about cross your head, oh no, I'm going to lose this fight?
let me tell you something. Not in Mohegan. Not in Mohegan. Let me tell you. I've been here. This is my fourth fight here. We're going here. I'm going here. They know me here.
Your arena?
Yeah, this arena. It's awesome.
We'll take a couple from the internet, starting with Jay.
I don't know if you've been keeping track, but one of the key things that I've noticed is in your amateur and professional career so far, you have not been finished. What do you atone to, keeping that record and keeping your chin strong and, just focusing on, completing the full fight?
I have not been keeping record with that, actually. Thank you. Honestly, I try to always have good head movement and, be in control of the exchanges. Yeah, it's as simple as that, I don't mind training, but you want to be in good position when it happens. Otherwise, you end up taking more damage than you need to. I feel like once or twice in my fight career, I got cut, and cuts look bad to judges. So, that can cost you. So, I just want to be smart in going into my exchanges and pick high percentage shots, Don't give up my chin. That's another good one.
Jean-Claude.
Hi Phil, congrats on the win. Earlier today, Scott Coker made a big announcement that Bellator is going to be moving from Paramount to CBS Sports. Just want to get your thoughts on that, on Bellator moving now to Sports Network, and what do you hope that does for you and Bellator's brand going forward?
Man, that's big news, moving up to CBS Sports. It's just an amazing opportunity for the entire Bellator family, for all the fighters here in our stable. Continuing to raise the visibility of all of our fighters. We have some of the best fighters in the absolute world. I'm not just saying that because the fight here, I say because it's true. And the more we get our fighters in front of a greater audience, the world will be able to see that. And we're just on a snowball's track to keep gaining more momentum.
Thanks, Phil.
Connor.
Hey Phil, congrats on it.
Thank you.
You and Lona, in the lead up to this fight, we're both talking a lot about how, you both were very different from the first meeting up to this point, but, talking about this rematch with Nemkov, how different do you feel from the first time you fought him?
Man, you just set up what's the date? What's the date of this fight? This rematch with Nemkov? It's going to happen, isn't it?
I don't know.
What's going to be different this time with me and Nemkov? Is that what you're saying?
How much different do you feel you are from that first meeting?
Definitely better, but nothing crazy. That was what, a year and a half, something like that? Definitely better, but nothing crazy. Yeah, what I would look to do with Mr. Nemkov is be in the absolute tippy-top best shape of my life, and work on absolutely winning that first period, the first round at all costs. I know that I can outlast my opponents, and I just need to put that exclamation point on all of my performances. Just starting out strong and just allowing the fight just to unfold and just empty out the tank from start to finish.
Thanks, man.
All right, last question goes to Richard.
Phil, congratulations on the victory.
Thanks, Richard.
Yeah, a couple questions for you. First, you talked about fighting Machida in a hostile environment there in Brazil. So what was it like fighting a legend like Machida during a pandemic in an empty arena?
Man, I felt safe as hell in here. It was safe. Listen, when I was fighting down in Brazil against Machida, it was, you're fighting a legend. That's scary. That's fun. That's exciting. I was scared for my life, but like before, during, and after the fight. You understand what I'm saying? Like, entirely different. Like, entirely different. Like, right here, there's 30 people in the auditorium. Like, it's entirely different. Everybody's super safe, got the mask on. It's, I don't know, maybe I should be more afraid of coronavirus, but entirely different things to be worried about.
Yeah, and tonight, it seems like you beat Machida at his own game. You out-Machida Machida. What point in the fight do you really feel you were gaining control and really dictating the pace?
You know, again, it's all about angles and footwork. Where Machida does unbelievably well is when guys neglect to understand the angles, and they just get too frustrated and rush in. He'll take your head off either with a straight left hand, or he'll do his jump knee, or he'll just, I mean, he has great knees to the body. He has a wide range of things that he does when he catches you coming in and out of position. So the typical rule when a right-hander is fighting a left-hander is to make sure your foot is outside of their foot when you attack. That's the general rule. So as I'm fighting him, he fights a little bit wider and kind of angles in, and it's very inviting. You know, in fighting you have these rules, and then when people break the rules, when people break the rules, like he kind of is, he's setting himself up. He's inviting me to come in with a big right hand because he's so great at countering. So, for me, it was just getting the corner, getting around the outside of his lead leg, and then from there, just staying as busy as I possibly can. If he decides to go inside my foot, then fire off a right hand, fire off a right kick. Really stay active on my right side as soon as I notice he's out of position. And whenever possible, kick his lead leg and kind of force him to be out of position. But again, he's quick, and he sees the same thing I do, so he's rarely out of position, way more so than any other guy. Thank you, Rich.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Phil. Congratulations. We will see you all tomorrow night for Bellator 246. Have a good evening.
See you tomorrow.
Phil, are you willing to wait if it takes a while for Vadim to have to fight?
You what now?
Are you willing to wait a while if Vadim's not ready for a while? Or you want action?
I mean, I'm easy. I really am. I really don't care. I mean, it works like this. If I fight Vadim, I win. And then what? Then I fight Corey. If I fight Corey, I win. I mean, ideally, I would love to have the title first, but I love to fight. And I enjoy the challenge, so thank you, guys.